Aloha! Welcome to the Friday Marketing Jam Session. I'm Tom Gaddis, my co-host Nick Luisi. We are excited you are here for the Halloween spooktacular episode of the Aloha Marketing Jam Session. We're actually going to be talking today about how to use networking to grow your revenue each month. Even if you're an introvert and know nobody right now, we're going to give you some suggestions. Way to go. I'm going to give up the intro, and we will see you back here in one moment.
It's now time, the moment you've been waiting for. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of marketing strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. After 167 agonizing hours, they've finally returned. From the sun-soaked Sin City and the sandy shores of Maui, Hawaii, now back for a brand new Aloha Marketing Jam Session. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks and Remote Millionaires, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
Oh, listen to that crowd out there. Fired up for Halloween. Look at all those spooky graphics Deshaun did. She does such a great job. They look great, right? Awesome. Well, Nick, welcome. You're muted.
I'm a Nick, so that it's kind of close with the intro.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a Nick, right? We have some changes coming to the intros and the outros that'll probably be happening next week. So make sure you're here to see those. Doing a little bit of a revamp to the live
Yesterday,
show.
we had a remote millionaires training that Nick Ponte did. And I think there were 4 Nicks on that. There was Nicholas, Nick. There's a Nick in the agency. I mean, at a certain point, we just had to change all of our names and just let Nick take Nick. So,
yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Hey, Patty. No baby news yet. We're still waiting. She's being a little stubborn on the coming out. So, yeah, I think we handled the feedback. So, welcome, Regina. I don't know who this is, but if you grant StreamYard permission, we can see your face and who you are and all that stuff. Aloha from Kauai. Awesome, Regina. Kauai is a beautiful, beautiful island. Much, much slower pace than Maui. But, man, it's pretty. Welcome, everybody. Who else is in the house here? I see James. Welcome. Jacqueline from across the pond. What's up, Jules? Welcome, everybody. Man, excited to hear. We have a great Halloween live show lined up. We're going to be talking about networking. We're going to do that. Yeah, Regina says, yes, definitely slower paced. Yes, it is. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about something we're doing this weekend. We're going to open up our Remote Millionaires program for just a couple of days. So I have an opportunity to talk about that. You can ask me questions about it during the live show if you want. And if we think it's a good fit, you can head on over and check it out. Yes, my costume, I am Prince Charming today, Patty. So,
I don't even know. I should have wore black. I'm close to orange, then a Halloween-esque.
So it's good. I just realized yesterday, I was like, oh my gosh, it's probably the Halloween show. Like, I don't even have a costume to put on. My wife and I are going as nerds this year, so that should be pretty fun.
I thought you'd have a Halloween hat at the very
at least a Halloween hat, right?
Yeah,
just
right?
as he's going as Dorn.
That's going to scare all the kids in the neighborhood. A Dorn mask, that's very, very scary.
Awesome. Well, excited you guys are here. I want to start off by talking about a couple of things. Well, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the agency over in the shout out. So I know it's been chugging along, bringing in new clients. We brought in an operations manager a little while back. We've been expanding the team out there with account coordinators, project managers, all that kind of stuff. So we'll probably talk about that. What's up, Richie? Man, I hope you feel better. Richie's, he had quite the birthday spectacular.
I think that was blue flu. Bad ice that he had with all this celebration.
He said he did have quite the party, but he got the
looked great on Facebook. Yep. A lot of fun.
A lot
of fun.
Yep. Awesome stuff. Well, why don't we get this party started with some shark shout outs, and then We'll dive into some content on networking for fun and for profit. The profit, the important part there. And then we'll just kind of go from there. So here, let me pull the shout outs up. I'm going to share my screen here. We love to start the shows off by sharing the wins that you and our community post each week using the local marketing strategy. So really awesome stuff this week. First up, we've got Brandon Stewart, who has been crushing it with the Reach program. Like, he jumped in on that. He's been sending out blasts. He's been getting a lot of hot leads. He's been closing deals off of that stuff. And, as we have been doing in the agency as well, we fired up a Reach blast last week, and we're pretty sure it's going to bring in a client that we used to have, an old client. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. So awesome. So Brandon, who is a Remote Millionaires member, he picked up a new client, Google Business Profile Repair, $600. Google Business Profile Optimization and Ranking for $600 a month. Man, that is a fantastic deal. I mean, what is that? 12 grand? 12 grand just off of that client for the year.
From the Reach program,
Yeah, that's just awesome. From doing those Reach blasts. As Nick said in his post in the group, if you're not blasting, like, I thought that line was good. He's like, if your business isn't blasting, it's not lasting. YouTube. So he's got a Facebook, YouTube page creation, and small additions to the website at $85 per hour, not to exceed $1,200. I mean, that is a solid deal right there, Brandon. That is
huge.
Awesome. Yeah, great stuff. Joanne Smith. This falls right into our topic for today, networking. She went to her dentist for a routine checkup. The visit cost her $1,500 Australian, and she ended up walking out with a $2,000 Australian website gig by informing them to put a QR code up to get Google reviews. So she's got a Google Business Profile co-design, $72 a month Australian. She also had a Zoom meeting where she closed a $150 social media plus $100 video marketing at $72 a month Google Business Profile badge, a total of $1,539 US. So congratulations, Joanne. Awesome to see you taking action and getting results in the group. That's great. And, Nick, that ties right into one of the networking things we're going to talk about, which
I think that's wonderful. Always be prospecting, always be networking, right? She gave value. She probably was looking for a client, but she gave huge value to her dentist. I'll take that trade all day long. She got her teeth cleaned, as well as, she got a deal. I love that. ABN, man, always be networking. That's the key to this business, isn't any business. So that's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of times we forget about all the places that we can be doing that, right? And I think it goes back to the thing you always say, Nick, which is the first step of that is to always be curious.
Right.
When you're dealing with the businesses that you deal with, like, be curious about what they got going on, what they're doing, where are there holes in what they're doing? Is there value you can bring to them? I know I closed a client one time standing in line at the bank. He was a handyman, and he was like right behind me, and we just started chatting it up, and he was like, oh, I would do that. And like, I closed a deal with him. So really awesome to see that kind of stuff. And I know some people have shared in the group when home service providers have come to their house to do work, they end up closing a deal. Like, think about all those things you interact with, and or even if you don't, maybe your friends do, right? Like, be curious about the businesses your friends do business with. Like, even ask them, like, hey, who do you like? What businesses do you frequent often? Who do you really like? And then go check them out.
There's a bunch of younger sharks on this call that had no idea you could go into a bank. Right, because they just do it all.
Right, yeah.
Right? They're like, what do you mean you go at the bank? I don't.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? You go inside. I don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because if you do what I was just talking about, like even just asking your friends and acquaintances what businesses they do, like you could almost use that like a warm referral. Because if they say like, oh, I really love this place, we go there all the time. Like in your outreach to that person, you could say, hey, I was talking to my friend so-and-so who loves your business. They come in all the time. And, it got me curious. So I took a look, and hey, I just wanted to point something out to you because I noticed like I think you're missing a big opportunity. And then whatever that opportunity is, right? Whether it's their Google business profile, their social media, something with their website, anything that you can bring in there and say, hey, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I mean, this is what I do. So I love looking around at what other businesses are doing and that kind of thing. And if you have somebody in the house, you should fix this. But if not, give me a shout. I'd love to sit down and chat with you about it. So
it's a great script you just gave everybody. And it's just, you're leading with, I'm curious, I want to help. Last week I was at a dinner at a local Italian restaurant, right? I'm Italian, so I only go to one cuisine. And it was one of my first clients when I had my agency. And that's the restaurant that we went to. And he was saying, I need good help finding a marketing solution. I just don't have the time, right? This day and age, the restaurant business is harder than ever, right? The fight for new clients is harder than ever. And they all are just looking for wonderful people to help support them in the digital marketing aspect. So the work that everybody does in the Shark community and the offline Sharks and remote millionaires is so important. And if you just say, who do you know? Who do you know that I could talk to? I mean, that just starts the conversation. So absolutely.
Yeah, those warm referral leads like that are gold, right? Because it really does change the tone and the feel of the conversation when you're reaching out to somebody. And sometimes too, I know we had one shark who would leave reviews for the businesses she was prospecting. And I thought that was a great strategy too. Like, what a great way to lead with value. Like, just shoot them an email and be like, hey, I visited your business or whatever. And I left you a good review because I think you have a really sharp operation. But hey, look, I noticed something. This is what I do. I do digital marketing. And so I'm always looking around at what people are doing, the businesses that I go to and frequent. And I noticed like, you don't have many reviews. So I left you one. But like, would you like help getting some more? Like, I thought that was a great strategy as well.
That's very smart. Very smart.
Okay, well, that's our live show. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, I mean, it just gives some money away, and we're done, right? They got a good script
and implements.
Yeah, those two strategies. Maybe we'll give them one more, and now we're off to the races, and we could go trick or treat in our neighborhoods. Go early, get the good candy. Awesome. So now, do you guys give out big candy bars, or are you the mini ones?
Well, we do good candy. My wife is big on giving out good candy. She likes to be the house that gives out the good candy.
You don't do pennies or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I was showing Nick before the live show. It's too hard to see it on the camera, but I was telling him I found this really great thing on Etsy. It's like a really realistic severed finger. It looks so real when you see it up close, so my Halloween thing this year was I ordered this thing, and when it came in, when each of my daughters, they walk the dog on different days. So when they came back with the dog, I was like, hey, buddy, what's going on? And then I was like, what's this in his mouth? And I came up with this severed finger, and both of them were like, oh, my God. They screamed. They were like, oh, it was great. But probably not a good idea to do that to the kids that trick or treat. But
No.
Toughens up my kids, so that's good. Awesome. Well, let's, here. Let me pull this back up here. Which one we're on? Okay. So next up, we've got Fletcher Horton signed a monthly WordPress e-commerce website management client, $800 a month. Solid deal, Fletcher. Solid deal. Cyril Marcone upsold site speed optimization to an SEO client for $1,500. Both Fletcher and Cyril are in the Remote Millionaires program. So awesome to see them getting traction and what they're doing. And excellent work, gentlemen. Excellent work. Then we've got Scott Meisner, who put in his quarterly update. Super impressive. He crossed the 1 million postcard mailed threshold.
Wow.
That's huge. Is a huge milestone. He mailed the most 11 by 14 postcards in 1 month. 70,000 he mailed in 1 month. He prepared 105 boxes of postcards in 4 hours with his team, aka his incredibly huge family. Smart, good way to outsource Scott. And he expanded into 2 more areas this year. For now, he's doing postcards in a total of 7 areas. He's expanding into at least 2 more additional areas in 2024. He hired a salesperson And I know, Scott's also in Remote Millionaires using that information to do those things. And a new record profit for this quarter, $42,000 plus. That is impressive.
That is crazy impressive. And, a wonderful combination of, in-house, right? Physical marketing and digital marketing. And I love both of them. That is great. That is
great. I thought the picture he posted on Facebook was great with the postcards all thrown in the air. That was awesome. So fantastic work, Scott. Fantastic work. I actually got to meet Scott in Hawaii when him and his wife.
You guys. Yeah.
Yeah, super nice guy. Dorn Britton sold a $1,000 website with a $650 month SEO to an industrial contractor. And Dorn, maybe you can, I don't know if Dorn's on here. Maybe you can tell me in the chat. Was that something that came from one of your reach blasts? I think Nick was telling me the other day that you shared you closed a deal from a reach blast. So excellent work, Dorn. Excellent work.
He did.
Dorn is also yeah. Always helping people out, sharing info. Really great stuff. Next up, we've got Danny. Changed his offer. Changed his offer and closed 2 wins, a new website at $500 plus $50 a month with hosting and maintenance for each. Solid win there. 2 sites, $1,000 up front and an extra $100 a month. I mean, man, that's great. That's great. Miguel Vasquez closed his first client, gave away a free AGM listing to them, a yoga studio last year. So look here again, providing value, but then down the road, it's paying off. He gave it to him last year, kept in touch periodically, good follow-up, and they reached out to him recently for a new website, $1,750. Miguel, man, way to stick with it. Like, Miguel, it is awesome to see Miguel getting his client, because I know, being in Remote Millionaires, we get to really know people in there and really get to see the kind of, the things that everybody goes through stuff, right? And I know Miguel's had some pretty hard things going on, just in life in general. And to be able to just keep that focus and keep moving forward and close a deal, really, really great stuff.
That one put the biggest smile on my face when I saw that, when you posted that. I'm like, way to go. That's a case study of perseverance.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely something you need when you're building a business.
Yep. I mean, it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
That's right. That's right. Jonathan sold a home services jackpot website, $1,696. He sold a pre-built theme that he got from us for $1,696 with SEO on the table for a possible monthly recurring. Jonathan, fantastic win, buddy. Fantastic. Casey Evans shares that he regularly attends in-person networking events. He's part of a BNI chapter, and he started a Facebook community for small businesses owners in his local area. A year ago, he didn't even start his current agency, but this week was his best ever. He signed 4 clients, 3 websites, 1 for SEO, a total of $11,907 US total revenue. 3 of those 4 clients came from networking sources.
Look at that.
Spectacular. Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of those networking things there. So you guys are going to like this. Awesome work, Casey. Awesome work. Is that a Iowa, Casey? Is that an Iowa jersey there or a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey? Curious. The agency, Nick Ponte Marketing, new client, sport fishing charter boat, $2,000 a month Google ad campaign plus $1,000 a month in SEO. We signed a helicopter tour company, $3,000 pay-per-click, $1,500 SEO plus $250 setup fee. This was one picked up through outbound prospecting. So I think that may be the reach or the salesperson. I'm not sure there, but yeah, we do both, right? We have inbound and we have outbound. So excellent work to the team and congrats to the team there at the agency for doing that. As you guys know, Nick and I really have nothing to do with those things, right? Like the whole team at the agency sets that stuff up. And, one of the things that we've been working to get more of happening inside Remote Millionaires is interaction with our agency team, with the RM members, right? Getting those people sharing exactly what they're doing, how things are going on. It's pretty awesome to see the strides that they're making in the agency. And, now with the operations person there, like new things are getting implemented and we're not even doing those, right? Like they're coming up with the ideas and the way to refine the systems and the way to do that. And Nick shares a ton of stuff in Remote Millionaires about how he finds those people, the responsibilities they had. He did an amazing share with the job posting he used to find the operations person, the interview process, all the things the guy does, and sharing what he's doing. And same thing with the account coordinators and all that stuff. So really, really great. And look, if your agency isn't at that point where you're like, boy, I don't need those things yet, you're probably wearing all those hats. Well, we wore all those hats too, right? The goal is to just get out of all of those hats as quickly as possible, which is what we've been working to do in the agency and sharing with the Remote Millionaires members. So awesome work, team. That's a combined total. My goodness, look at that. $72,977 for the week of October 21st through the 27th.
It's huge.
That is amazing. That is more than I made in an entire year,
right?
As a restaurant manager. Almost double what I made as a restaurant manager in Oklahoma. That is just like, wow, that is awesome to see, you guys.
I mean,
go ahead.
It's a run rate of 3.74 million if every week was like that. I mean,
if every week was like that, that'd be great.
That's a solid win.
That's a great week. A grand total of $1,300,171 since the start. That's just since the start of 2023. So, man, way to go out there, everybody. Way to take action. Way to close those deals. Keep that momentum going. Let's close some more deals this week. Share your wins in the Facebook group, even if they're small. Small wins are wins, right? Sometimes the small wins are the biggest wins you can get. So don't think like, oh, well, it's only a few $100s. We want to see those wins. Those things are just as big as closing the bigger deals. And, and especially, when you struggle for a long time to get those wins and you get them, it's a big freaking deal, So share them. Let us celebrate them. Congratulations, everybody out there. Job well done. Awesome. So there's a couple of things, Nick, I wanted to talk about with networking. Let me pull this up because I had a couple of little notes here. So one, you guys saw in the shout outs that someone mentioned BNI. And for those of you that don't know what BNI is, it stands for Business Networking International. Mm-hmm. It is a group started by, I forget what his first name is. I know his last name is Meisner.
Iron
Meisner. So they are all over the world. So if you are anywhere in the world, it's a good idea to check to see if there's a BNI group in your area. And the reason I bring up the BNI is because there are two different kinds of networking groups that you can be a part of, right? There are free networking groups, and then there are paid networking groups. So free networking groups would be things like local meetups. Maybe you go on meetup.com, you look around, there's always, Nick and I used to go, it was really interesting. Nick found a WordPress meetup on Maui, and he was like, we should go check this thing out. And I thought, I don't know, we're just going to be around a bunch of people talking about WordPress. Like, that's not very exciting. The very first one we went to, this lady came, and the reason she came was because she needed a WordPress website built. And she was like, I looked at the meetup and I thought, well, I can find somebody here. So she came and was like, this is the kind of website I need. Like, she was there to hire someone, right? Yeah. Like, you can't ask for anything better than that, So there is value in free networking groups as well. The one thing with free networking groups is that's not the norm, right? Like, a lot of times when you're at the free networking groups, there are a lot of people just trying to get their businesses started, trying to get their businesses off the ground, which is great. But usually they don't have big budgets, right? Yeah. They don't have a lot going on. So you can talk to a lot of people. It's great to get to know other entrepreneurs and all that stuff in those groups. But sometimes the qualified prospects can be a little few and far between. And you really got to kind of go on a consistent basis, stick it out, and really try to, really spend your time making sure, like, hey, before we invest a lot of time in this, like, is this somebody that can really I mean, I know they'll get value from what you offer, but is this somebody that has a budget that can afford what I'm doing and all those kinds of things? So just always keep that in mind with free events. The other side of the free networking event, Nick, that I think is interesting is it can be a way to get yourself out in the community and start to build a little bit of authority and credibility. I know on Maui, there was a place called it's the Maui Small Business Resource Center.
Right.
It's a place where if you're trying to open a business, you go and they have like all the forms and they offer free help to help you get set up and all those things. One of the things they do there, though, is if you have a topic that you want to talk about or teach on, you can just approach them, and for free, they will let you hold a class. And they will email their entire list of people and tell them like, hey, this person's holding a class on this topic. The only restriction with them was they don't want you pitching at the end. But that's okay. Like, we just want to show up and deliver value. Like the people that are interested will show up, right? You just can't do a direct pitch at the end of your presentation. But I did one there on paid advertising, and the room was packed. It was insane how many people showed up. And the reason I bring this one up is because maybe you're thinking like, oh, well, Tom, like, I don't really have money to do a networking event. Well, here's how I did this networking event. One, the Business Resource Center, it was free. It didn't cost me anything to do it. I just had to make a presentation. But two, Google actually had a live virtual event where if you could just put up a screen, they had trainers, Google trainers training on pay-per-click advertising. And then at the end, like they would just refer them to whoever was doing, like they would just say, look, if you're interested in doing this, talk to the person who's brought you to this training, right? And the other thing Google did was they gave you a $200 gift card to get donuts and coffee.
Wow.
So I took this Starbucks gift card. What is it? Like, where do those balloons come from? Did you do that?
Not I.
This is so weird. So I was on a podcast interview the other day and I did this, and like this little bubble of a thumbs pops up. I think it's something in my computer, but I can't figure out what the heck it is that's doing it. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Anyway.
Cute, yeah.
Yeah. So I used the $200 Starbucks gift card. I bought coffee. I bought donuts. We had them all there. And me and my business partner at the time, that wasn't Nick. I had originally had a different business partner. And anyway, we did that presentation. It was really great. So that was one. And that was really just cost me my time in putting together, and just showing up. Another one was the Rotary Club.
Yeah.
Local Rotary clubs are always looking for local business speakers to come and do presentations. And I was able to go and do a presentation at one of the Rotary clubs as well. So there's a couple of places that don't cost you anything to join that you can go build your credibility, your authority, and then you can use that in your marketing, right? Like you could mail out some letters to, one thing that you can do after an event like that is email all the people that are in the Rotary Club and say, hey, I recently did a presentation at your club. If you missed it, here's some of the details. If you're interested in this, let me know. Right. So those are a couple of.
With these, I mean, you could pay a high school kid to videotape it and, hey, I got a copy of it. If you want to see it, take pictures, use that. So there's Rotary, Kiwanis, right? There's the Optimist Club, right? Most communities have multiple of these, and they're always, marketing fills the place, right? Every business owner wants to know how to do marketing better. So absolutely. I loved it's also the follow-up. You're what we were saying of making sure that you hit everybody, right? Because a lot of times they're there, they take your card, but it's the follow-up. You'll find business just by being savvy on your follow-up at these things.
Yeah, and I think we should talk specifically about follow-up here in a minute too. But yeah, that is a big part of it, right? Just initiating some additional contact. So that's the preset. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
The other thing on like the free events or that is online, and we'll talk about more online, but they do offline is alignable.
Yes.
And And Joanne Woodward, who's one of our Remote Millionaires members, they asked her if she would host a local Alignable event. And so she now is the go-to person, just like you were talking about, right? They gave her a stipend hosted. We talk about it in an interview I do, right? So if anybody wants to see that interview or haven't seen an interview with her, just let us know. We'll get that to you. But, if you active on Alignable, it's internal, that's electronic networking, but they do physical events that you could also do host. That's correct, Joanne.
Yeah,
Woodward.
Joanne Westwood, right? Joanne Westwood is the one who did that.
I think it was Woodward.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe Patty threw me off by throwing a different name. So, but yeah, Joanne Westwood. You're correct.
Joanne Westwood, right? Yeah. She's crushing in there too. But yeah, Alignable is another one. And if you guys are in the Shark Alliance, if you're in the Shark Alliance Elite, I believe there's a training in there that one of our members did. He was using Alignable to get clients a while back, and he did a little training on what he was doing. There's some good stuff in there. But yeah, and we'll talk about online here in a minute because that's another version, right? So, but back to the offline in-person type stuff. So those are the free types of things you can do. Also, too, another thing that I would mention about this for free networking is I also picked up clients at charity events. So we had a local theater in Maui, and they would do a fundraiser every year. You bought a ticket to dinner. It was inexpensive. It wasn't like a crazy amount. When I showed up, I was at the table with a guy that owned several they're called Tamaras. And he owned like a bunch of them on Maui. I was everyone at my table was a business owner. Like they had that was one of the things that they did was donate to keep the community theater going. And so those events can be amazing networking events. I went the next year and the mayor was at my table and a bunch of other prominent business people. So it is another great way to get out and start connecting for not very much money. I mean, I don't even think the tickets were $100 at the time. So another one I did was somebody was doing a charity car wash. And so I said, yeah, I'll bring my daughters. We'll come and do the charity car wash. I wasn't even thinking about networking. And when I showed up, a guy that owned the largest State Farm agency on Maui was there, right? There were other business owners there as well. So that turned out to be an amazing networking opportunity to get to know these people outside of something, So when I reach out to them, I'm not a stranger.
Well, you can reference charity, right? You're giving back to the community just like they are. I used to do a lot of work in healthcare, and so we would always go to hospital charity events and say, "Don't put me at tables with doctors," because that's who we sold to. They're, "Oh, what do you do?" Everybody's they don't want to talk about medicine. They want to they want to talk about wine or anything else, and then they all are asking questions about business. So savvy networking with charities. One is you feel good because you're giving to a good cause.
Yeah.
But the second thing is most of them do just a lot of they all want to talk about marketing. They all have an interest. It's a phenomenal lean in conversation starter.
And not just the charities themselves, but those types of events attract the exact type of people you want to be working with. It attracts fellow business owners, entrepreneurs, people that are invested in the community that want to give back. I mean, imagine you're at a charity event and you're the person there that has this community resource website in the area that helps local businesses. And now you got all these local, it just is such a great positioning for you. So Jacqueline says the Mayor's Charity Ball is a good networking event over here. That's awesome. So we talked a little bit about free networking events. So let's talk about some offline paid networking events. And that brings me back to BNI. So BNI is a paid networking event. And the thing that has kind of separated BNI from other groups is they only allow one person from each industry to be an actual member. So there's only one insurance agent. There's only one website person. There's only one social media. Now, the advantage we have as digital marketers is when I joined my group, there was already a website person. So I just joined as the social media person.
Right,
or you could join as the SEO person if there's a social media person, right? But the goal of BNI is not so much to do business with each other, which happens. you do business with people in BNI, but really the goal is to be referring each other to outside business. That's why they only allow one type of each business. You can go to 2 BNI chapter meetings for free. Look, there they are again. Look at that. I don't know why it's
I think you're. I think
it's something with the gestures, but
it's not on my side. I'm trying to do it. So yeah.
So you can go to
2.
You can go to 2 for free, and you can
bounce.
travel around to different chapters. So even on Maui, which is a small place, there was 2 or 3 different BNI chapters. And, you know, I recommend if you're going to go the BNI route, which I think it's maybe $500-$600 a year, you know, it's not anything crazy. But like go around, visit several chapters, find one that you like, you know, and then when you join, like what I found the key to BNI was at first I just showed up as a member, but then I actually started to get involved. Like they have various positions that the members take to run the meetings and do things like that. I found I got a lot of really great traction by getting involved in the group and taking some type of service position in the group. And then I got to interact with more members and all that stuff. So I thought that was really good as well. The paid networking groups tend to have, I think, a better quality lead flow because everyone wants to get their investment back. You know, so you tend to, like, when somebody refers someone to you, it tends to be a pretty solid lead, you know, versus some of the free networking group events. So if you have a budget for it, if you can find a way to make a budget for it, I would recommend doing both, you know, checking out some free ones, checking out some paid ones. And, you know, it's an investment in your business. It's a tax write-off. It's definitely something that I wouldn't shy away from. If you're someone who is maybe struggling with confidence in presenting, you know, maybe you're not, like, maybe you're an introvert and you're like, look, I'm not comfortable talking in front of people and doing the networking stuff. Another great group that we didn't talk about, and I don't know if Toastmasters is free or not. I know Nick did Toastmasters.
I think it's paid.
Is it paid? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
you may be able to go to a couple for free, right? Just kind of kick around the edges. But I believe it's paid.
Yeah. So Toastmasters is a great one because not only do you get to network with other individuals that are looking to better themselves, normally for business, but you learn a skill, which is how to do a presentation in front of a group of people, and it sharpens up your communication skills. And that was actually something Nick did because he felt that was an area he was lacking in early on, you know, really uncomfortable doing that. So he did Toastmasters. He loved it. And I think he got some clients out of there, and he became a better, you know, presenter on things like the live show and the webinars we do. And when he's meeting with clients and stuff like that, you just become more comfortable. So
the other thing to do, is you could host your own. And I saw the one member that hosted a Facebook group, but you could also host your own meetup group with local businesses, right? And we used to do it, you know, because when we had the agency, we would do restaurant advertising and you get cash and trade, right? So now, you know, you say, okay, I'm not going to come during the peak season, but we're going to take the back room and tell everybody, hey, I'm buying, you know, the first round and maybe some hors d'oeuvres, use the trade for that. And you'd be surprised on the amount of people that will be coming in. And there's a lot of, in my area, there's a lot of local, you know, let's call it business networking events that are held in bars or, you know, ale houses or whatever, like on Tuesdays and Wednesdays when they're just screaming for people. And it's for free, right? And it's maybe you got to buy one drink or one soda pop or iced tea. But, you know, there's ways to do it. It just got to be crafty, and you just got to look for different events. And nowadays, everything's online. You could just, you know, search, like you said, just go to look for meetups or look for networking events, or, you know, local libraries is another great place to give speeches, just like you were talking about with the Google. And they'll invite everybody and they'll put it in their local, you know, usually they do a newsletter. So you want to ride along with that and see if you can do an insert.
Yeah. And I know that Facebook and Google both used to organize events in local areas because they did some on Maui. Nick and I went to where Google's hosting the event, and you showed up and there are just a lot of business owners there interested in digital marketing. Like that's a good pool to be roaming around in and networking with, right? So, I guess we're back to the always be curious, right? Look around in your area and just see what's going on offline as well as online, which we'll talk about now. We'll talk about online networking. So, obviously we talk about having local business Facebook groups associated with our AGM sites. We do a newsletter there. So those Facebook groups can be a great place, those local business Facebook groups. Even, starting one of those and combining the two, doing a online and an offline. That's what Taylor's doing, right? Like he has a online group and he's running in, live events. I think his last one, he had like over 200 people. It's crazy. He's got sponsors now. Like it's really just blown up for him. But he did the exact same thing you were talking about, which was, he just found a restaurant that was slow on a Tuesday night and they were like happy to have people come in, So anyway, so with the online networking, so obviously there's, we talked about Alignable, that's one that's very business oriented. Obviously there's LinkedIn, right? I know people can start groups on LinkedIn. There's various groups on LinkedIn and things like that. There's Facebook as well. There's also, there's
Reddit.
also a platform called Nextdoor.
Nextdoor is great. Reddit is another one. I mean, if you are in this business, you should be on Nextdoor. You will see potential prospects as well as what the community wants, right? They're looking, and that's it's another way to go to somebody and say, I was on Nextdoor. There's like 5 people looking for a plumber. I love to be able to put your name out there. Oh, by the way, I have an agency. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about that. But, it is huge. The other thing on kind of the offline to online, I know 2 different guys that have, in essence, created networking businesses as an offshoot of their core business because they host these networking groups and have monetized them. One of them does in 3 different locations. And I said, what's your top feed of your funnel? He goes, this is what feeds my funnel every day. I'm getting people coming in because of this networking group. So did you have any success with any of the online ones?
I never really got much into Alignable or Nextdoor. I mean, mainly it was just Facebook groups, looking around and things there, like obviously when we were, getting our AGM site off the ground and stuff, we were doing a lot of networking in those groups to drive people to that. Sure. I enjoy in-person networking. So that
good
was
energy off of that.
Yeah. I liked doing that. So I did a lot more in person versus online networking. But, these days I find myself networking more online, looking for groups that I can be a part of, paid and free, where people are sharing information that I think will be, of value to the businesses and stuff like that. And, as Nick and I have kind of grown, we've branched out into joining some masterminds, which are another great way. Like there's a ton of local masterminds. Like when we think of masterminds, we usually think of a lot of people think of the big ones like the Genius Network and all those things that are super expensive, but there's a lot of local masterminds. A lot of people run local masterminds that can be very, very good, and if you have an interest in a particular niche, like I was just on one of our sharks, EG Buzz. She has a podcast, and she just did an interview with me a couple days ago for a podcast. And some of her listeners are more in the spiritual space, right? And so, like, if that's you, if you're in a space like that, like, let's say that you're in the spiritual space, there's probably some like business groups that are based around that. Or if maybe you're religious, like sometimes there are, religious based business groups. And if those align with your values and, and what you're doing, those can also be fantastic places to go and network and meet with other like-minded people that share your values and things like that and grow. So yeah, those can be good as well.
There's a ton of Christian, business groups. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on that. Speaking of Genius Network, I Love Marketing, which is the podcast that he does, used to have meetup groups in different different communities. So it'd be people that wanted to talk about marketing. It wasn't just marketing people; it'd be business owners, and you should check to see if there's still I Love Marketing ones. There's another one that's a B2B, and it's all 100% free. B2B Match is another B2B online community. I've never used it, right? So I can't. But there's that, and then there's a couple others, and I'm curious if anybody in we're very active Facebook group, but like Eventbrite, right? I think you could look for your events there, but has anybody used any of those that are just the standard pop-up ones that happen? Most community colleges will host them too, right? So if you look at your local community college, there's probably a business to business, or they'll host a business roundtable that you can come in and be the speaker, right? And then, like you said, send everybody that attended, hey, by the way, I was just there. I did this presentation. Maybe you missed parts of it. Here's copies, or I'd love to talk about that. So
yeah, and look for any kind of little business. Like sometimes there's usually like a small business day, or like a business, like a lot of people do like a business startup event where they'll do a 2-day event in a lot of areas. Like a lot of communities do those types of things. Those can be great as well. So yeah, all good recommendations. And if you're doing any of our strategies, like if you if you have an AGM site, like, what better value to just be giving away free listings? Like, hey, give me your card. I'll set you up with a free online profile. Like, what a great reason to get their card and then to create a profile and do the follow-up, It's
huge.
Yeah.
There's one large one, and I believe it's SBU, small business, that they're going from community to community. And I stopped into one in New York. I happened to be in New York with my wife, and they were hosting one. Easily 10,000 small business owners were there. And actually somebody that we know had a booth and was doing a presentation. Vance Morris was there.
Oh, really, Vance?
Yeah. So
Vance is a great guy.
Yeah. And so take a look to see, it's pennies to get in, and it's thousands of business owners that are there. And if you have an AGM site like we teach, what a great place. And there's everybody under the sun is there. So it's really, really good environment.
I love this. Jules says, I tried several of your strategies, but they were too effective and made too much work, so I quit.
There you go. Can't help everybody, right?
I love it, Jules. I love it. So I saw Patty has been, she's been commenting the past couple of weeks about something that I used to do on this show that was called, did I take it out of here?
She's asking if you're still doing podcasts.
She asked if I was still doing podcasts. So I haven't been recording any recently, but I did some recordings to appear on some. But she was asking about a little segment that I used to do called What's Tom Reading, where I would share a book. And I actually do have a book that I want to share. So which one? Boy, which one? These both kind of went hand in hand. Hold on. So one book that I got suckered into from Facebook ads was by Brandon Dawson.
Oh,
it's called The 9-Figure Mindset.
Yep.
I found this book to be really good. Like it is a fire you up. Like I didn't really know who Brandon was. Like I didn't know he was Grant Cardone's partner. I didn't know anything about him. So this book was really interesting. I mean, he's basically, so this is what I found really interesting about this. Talk about a go-getter. So Brandon was in the hearing aids. His family had a hearing aid business, and he started a consulting business to hearing aids. So he's basically an agency owner doing consulting to hearing aid companies. As that business grew, he sold one, got kicked off the board. Pretty interesting story to see how that happens. But he wanted to expand his business coaching. And so he started looking around, like, who can help me get to be the biggest business coach I can be? And his wife told him about Grant Cardone. And he said he watched one Grant Cardone video and he would told his wife, he's like, we're never working with that guy. Like, this is just too, like, he's just too cheesy. I don't want any part of that. But like, he kept kind of like seeing Grant stuff and he read a couple of Grant's books and he was like, you know what? I think I want to meet this guy. So how's this for a networking prospecting strategy? He goes to one of Grant's events and he buys like a huge number of tickets to send his friends and clients to Grant's events. So he buys a huge chunk of tickets, spends a bunch of money. He buys seats for him and his wife, front row center, seats that he knows while Grant is on stage, he will be in Grant's line of sight, right? Then he wears these bright red shoes and this outfit that is guaranteed to get attention when he looks around. And the whole purpose was to just meet Grant, you know, and he met Grant. They started talking. They ended up starting Cardone Ventures, which is now a huge company. I mean, they've built that thing to a crazy amount of revenue. And so in this book, he just kind of talks about that and some of his strategies. I found it very inspiring. It actually got me so fired up that I went back and got this book that I'd heard about but never read, the 10 Times Rule. I found this book to be this really got me fired up to get going. I don't know, you know, it has been interesting the past few months. It's like I was just kind of felt like I was in this sort of like, yeah, we're doing good. Yeah, but it was like I was just finding it hard to be motivated. And I think part of it was, and I'll just share this because like when you have success, it's very easy to start thinking, okay, now we can just sit back and relax, right? And when you start having that thinking of like things are moving along good and we're just kind of keeping it going, like it starts to feel not good because you're like, I like, you know, like all of a sudden you get the realization like, oh, if we really want this thing to move forward, we're going to have to work our butts off again. You know, like I thought like, well, working your butt off to get it built, like you should be allowed a vacation after that, right? Like you work your butt off to build, start, grow, and get this thing going. And then like, now you have to work even harder to grow it even more. And it's like, yes. And so this book really like got my brain back in line with that like, you know, am I taking enough action? Like, first of all, are my goals, am I really thinking big enough? Like, am I still thinking small? Like maybe I could be thinking bigger than I actually am. That was really important. And then the other thing too, that he said in there that really just kind of hit home with me was, and this should help any of you out there that are struggling to grow your agencies, or maybe you have some traction and you just feel like, oh, when is the work and the effort I have to put in going to stop? Well, it doesn't, right? And the thing that I really got out of the 10 times rule was he basically said, the way that you know you're taking enough action is you have new problems. And I have always been looking at the new problems as problems, not as a good thing. Yeah. Like, oh, we want to get this thing going. And so like, let's say your thing is like, okay, I'm going to build up my agency. I'm going to get 10 clients paying me $1,000 a month. You go out, you take this action, this massive action, you get these 10 clients paying you $1,000 a month. Now you have a new problem. You've got to fulfill for these 10 clients at $1,000 a month. And it can feel very frustrating. Maybe you all, like when you get 10 clients, you realize that you trying to do everything isn't sustainable. Now you have to build out an infrastructure. So you have a new problem. And it can be easy to fall into self-pity over that and just think it's just, oh, look, there's the little thing with the, I don't know. Anyway, it can be easy to fall into the feeling of like, oh, it's just problem after problem after problem, instead of looking at those new problems as a sign that you're doing the right thing. And that was the mental shift for me. Like when I'm doing the right thing and taking the right amount of action, the new problems are good. Like, great, I got to build out my infrastructure. Awesome, I've got to like figure out how to build this new part. Like, that means I took enough action and I'm doing the right things. And I just I just found myself not thinking that way, right? And so it was a great realignment of my mindset to get back in that stage of like, yeah, hey, like, we can get bigger, we can grow, we can still do exciting things, and it's going to take some, it's going to take massive action, and it's going to create problems, but that's a good thing. Like, let's just go do it. So,
is that the book that he wrote in the 2008-2009 financial crisis? If I recall, he talks about how he got out of that, right?
Yes, he does.
He was in the he was in the car business, right? He was solely selling sales training in the car business, and that just got decimated. And he talks about how he just had to do everything he could possibly think of to get himself out. And as a business owner, there are times where we have to do everything that we could think of, and there are times where we have to, times get tough, right? And so, how do you double down? How do you triple down? Dan Sullivan has an interesting quote on that too, right? Or maybe Darren Hardy, where they'll say, hey, if you want to 10x your business, it's actually easier than 2x, because 10x makes you think radically different than just slow growth, right? So large growth, leaps and bounds, 10 times in your business cause you to think differently. So I think I'm going to get the 9. I got a Audible credit. So is there any pictures in there that I'm going to miss if I listen to it?
No. Okay. No, you'll be fine. I bought this, but I listened to this on Audible. Yeah. So this is what I listened to when I was going to the gym. I've been listening to music, and I thought, why am I listening to music? Like, I should be listening to something that's like going to fire me up. So I listened to this. And the reason I got the book is because I'm starting to go through the actual, like, it's easy to read the book and be like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then you just put it down. But there's actually like written exercises and things to do. And I got the book because I want to do those things to really get clear on some of that stuff. So, and one of the big things about all this too, which ties us back to our reopening of Remote Millionaires, is that's why it's so important. I mean, networking in general, all the things we've been talking about, but being involved in things like Remote Millionaires, it's so important to be around like-minded people trying to do big things. Like, when you're around people that are doing big things or trying to do big things, your game is elevated. And I have seen this over and over in my life. It wasn't until, like, for 5 years I thought, oh, I'm going to get in shape. Oh, I'm going to get in shape. Oh, I'm going to get in shape. And I never did it. And then Nick and I got involved in this mastermind group. And everyone in that group was healthy and in shape. And we went to 2 events. And one, I was talking to Chris Winters, who's like just super healthy. And he's around my age. And we were talking, and he doesn't drink and I don't drink. And he was like, dude, you already don't drink. Like, if you just started exercising, like, you're like halfway there. Like, you would see amazing results. And it was being around those people and realizing, like, oh man, if they can do it, I can do it. And that was really like, we came back from Barcelona, and it was like that week I started going to the gym, started watching what I eat, and like had a drastic change in just my appearance and my health, strictly because I was hanging around people that were doing those things already. And I wanted to be that way as well, So like, I think it's a really powerful thing. I think it's I know we talk a lot about Remote Millionaires and what you get inside with the SOPs and the trainings and the access to our coaches and the subject matter experts and Nick and myself but there is really a power in being in a group where you're just trying to do big things. Like, it really helps you to elevate when you see. It's one of the reasons we do the wins on the live show every week. Like, my goal with that is that you see those wins every Friday, and maybe you don't take action this week, but they're just the repeated wins every week. Finally, you're just like, man, if those people can do it, I can do it. and you just go out and start taking action. So
don't you also think that those that are in mastermind groups, and even I see this with the Remote Millionaires group, right? It's very supportive, right? They are there to help each other, right? It's lifting everybody
people.
up.
They want you to succeed.
Yeah,
they want you to succeed. Yeah.
And you see it in the Remote Millionaires of, hey, I got this problem. Boom, 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 boom. 15 people do this, do this, do this. I had that problem. I did this. And in mastermind groups, they are there just to give, right? I mean, and they're built on, it's not 1 + 1 + 1 is 3. It's 1 + 1 + 1 is 16, right? Or 22, because you get that compounding effect of everybody just giving, solid sage advice to help you, whatever the problem is, right? And as entrepreneurs, we think it's just business, but sometimes it's your health. My guess is your business is better because the health is better, right? Every time
it's all connected, man. It's all connected.
Your sleep is better. Your focus is better. It is all connected, and it's really, how can I do that? And I see it so much in the Remote Millionaires. Everybody given, the coaches are phenomenal, best in the business by far. I'm biased. I love the program, and I just see the results. And you see somebody let's go full circle. Somebody like Miguel has just been in it, has been struggling just on interpersonal things, right? And we don't need to get, but got his first win this week, and the uproar for the community is just huge. And that just warms you. It makes you realize there are good places.
Yeah, and I find the better human being I become, the better entrepreneur I become. That's like when we say it's all connected. And Nick and I, just so you guys know, we practice what we preach. Like, we're not just out here telling you like, oh, hey, you should join our Remote Millionaires mastermind group. Like, we are members of multiple mastermind groups. Like, I just joined another one a couple of days ago. Nick just joined a new one. So like, we do these things as well, which is why we share this stuff with you. It's why we started our own group, because like, we see the power and all that stuff. So look, if you are interested in Remote Millionaires, if you just want to see what it's about, if you want to see how we can help you, there's a link at the bottom of the screen. It's offlinesharks.com/InsideRM. Go check it out. We're going to reopen. We're going to take some new members just for a few days. Very, very limited. So just for a few days, go check it out. offlinesharks.com/InsideRM. This has been an amazing training, Nick. Tons of great info that you shared, and great comments from everybody out here. I do have a couple more things we need to do before we go. So first off, we need to do our member of the week. And this week's member of the week is Miguel. Miguel, congratulations for getting your first paying client. Miguel, we're going to be sending an Offline Sharks treasure chest to you. The team will be reaching out. Way to go, man. Super excited for you. Really awesome to see that. So congratulations on being member of the week. And then one last thing before we head out.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
We like to give away some Cash App money for people that go to the shout outs and just say, good job, way to go. Put a positive comment there. This week's winners are Regina Floyd and Doug Page. Congratulations. The team will be reaching out to you to get some of that. I saw, Cameron said that there's reaction effects in StreamYard, but it's so weird, Cameron. I was on a podcast and it wasn't on StreamYard, I didn't think. And it happened there too. And I was like, what is that? Anyway, listen, thanks for joining us. Nick, thank you for being here. Tons of great value shared. Again, go to offlinesharks.com/InsideRM. Check it out. Stay safe for Halloween. Have a spooky time. We'll see you here next Friday. Same shark time, same shark channel. Stay safe and aloha, everybody.
Take care, all.
You've been watching the Aloha Marketing Jam Session, your weekly marketing live show, always bringing you the latest strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with the Remote Millionaires Podcast at remotemillionaires.com/podcast and Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube. We'll be back here next Friday for another live show. Until then, aloha.